Is it really time for the fall of Bill Belichick? What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today I'm taking a deep dive into the 2023 New England Patriots. If you guys are new, you guys know how to use YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, do that fun stuff. Even though this might be a little bit of a tough video, I do have a power ranking series coming very soon. It's going to be on YouTube Shorts as well as TikTok. So I'm going to explain a little bit more in depth where I see where this team could be versus where this team might be versus where this team I'll end up predicting, which you guys are going to get the full explanation right here. So I have to advertise the fact that I do think that this is going to be a tough year, but let's break down the roster. I'm going to go skill position to O-line, then D-line to skill position. Starting out with the quarterback, you got Mac Jones in there. Bailey Zappi backing him up. I like Bailey Zappi actually quite a bit. Bailey Zappi and Brock Purdy were pretty much in the same spot on my ranking board. So good to see that both of them had success there for sure. But Mac Jones, he's a good quarterback. There's just been a lot of turmoil in terms of the OC. Obviously, last year was really rough. You got Bill O'Brien coming in, which is awesome. I love that. I don't know if it moves the needle enough because there's a lot of teams, especially in your division, that, you have two Super Bowl competitors when healthy already, and then you just added pretty much a third one. That's why I got to preface it right now. It's just a really tough division to compete in. As a Steelers fan, trust me, I know I have Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and now potentially an unrusted Deshaun Watson in the division. It's very tough, but it's just one of those things you got to deal with for a period of time before you get your own Joe Burrow, you get your own Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Can't really bring up Tua into the equation yet, but healthy Tua with the team. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's just a tough situation to be in, but Mac Jones is the perfect quarterback for the system. It's just, is it enough? That's the thing. Star power is starting to become the big thing in the NFL, and this team has pretty much played money ball for a very long time. Tom Brady was always really damn good, but he never was that supreme quarterback that could make the 70-yard throw with a sidearm. He always was able to elevate the guys around him, and obviously you don't have that anymore. So you do have a lesser version of a Tom Brady here with Mac Jones, kind of like a Jimmy G level, where it's not raising the players up enough to be able to compete with those Super Bowl competitor teams. But you got Ramondre Stevenson there, who I love. Ramondre, he was one of those dudes who I love there at Oklahoma. But I don't know if I'm extremely over the moon about him being a true RB1. If not mistaken, I think he had some injury concerns there at Oklahoma. That might have been Kennedy Brooks. It's slipping my mind at the moment, but I just don't know if Ramondre is going to be a true RB1 for many years. But I do think he's a really good guy for the short term. I'm not going to put him on a pedestal and say he's a top 10 running back right away. And I know a lot of people might do that, but there's a lot of really good running backs in the NFL. I don't know if I'm willing to put my neck out there for him like that just yet. Wide receiver wise, Devontae Parker just got a 3-year, $33 million deal. Not overly enthused. It's kind of a bad sign when you're paying a wide receiver an extended contract when he's not necessarily the best player on planet Earth, especially at a receiver position. And you drafted a wide receiver that is now backing him up, according to our lads, in the second round just over a year ago. It does scare me quite a bit. You got Juju in there. I thought that was an excellent signing. It's very nice for Mac to be able to get a reliable target there, really good blocker. Don't think that's the best move for Juju, just no disrespect, but I don't think this offense is high octane enough to get Juju that really long-term deal. Of course, he was just in a high octane offense, and it's the reason why he's getting a contract. So, maybe eating my own words right there. Don't know if he's going to be the statistically best guy in the world. Then you got Kendrick Bourne up there. He's a solid guy, but I don't really get overly enthused either about him. But yeah, you got Tyquan Thornton, Kayshon Boutte behind him. There's some other wide receivers in there as well. But Tyquan, former second-round pick, taken above George Pickens. Hate to rub that in, but, Tyquan, he ran, I believe, in the 4.2s, and it was like 4.26. Really good player, honestly, and he's had some moments. It's just he's super thin. He looks like a freaking praying mantis out there, and injuries happen to praying mantises usually. It's not every day that you're going to get a slim reaper like Devontae Smith. So, we'll see what happens. The best ability is availability. Hopefully he's able to step up and, be able to maybe replace Kendrick Bourne and add that deep threat aspect again. We'll see about that. Tight end wise, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. They're both guys who I think are living off reputation more so than pure play. Hunter's just had a lot of injuries in his career. I don't think that he is prime Hunter Henry. And I don't think that Mike Gesicki at the contract y'all got him at is, the Mike Gesicki we saw 2 years ago. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I'm not overly enthused. You got the tackles here, Riley Reef and Trenton Brown, both on 1-year contracts or 1 year left in their contracts. Not the guys who I personally want, blocking for my team. But Trenton Brown's fine, Riley Reef's fine, but it's not those guys that I really want being the protectors of my quarterback, like the guys who are sealing the pocket. And just a little bit worried about that. The interior of the offensive line's great. You got Cole Strange in there. Obviously was a reach, but, he's his talent, certainly, because we all knew once Bill Belichick gets his hands on this guy, it's going to be great. So a lot of players you believe are an instant fit. Cole Strange with Bill Belichick was one of those guys who I knew he was going to be good. I thought, I was like, man, I only gave it an F grade because, dude, you could have got him in the second round. You overpaid for somebody that, even though he's a good fit, he's a good player, don't really need to overpay for. At least you traded back, so hallelujah there. Then you got Andrews, who's been super solid. I mean, I can't really complain about that. Michael Owenu is awesome. So overall, B- is still a good grade. I haven't really been very harsh on any teams, to be fair. Backup running back Pierre Strong is a guy who I can bring up as well. Love him to death. You also have Antonio Mafi that you brought in this past draft. So you have some good depth. Actually, that's something I wanted to address. You guys ended up drafting multiple interior offensive linemen on a very deep interior offensive line, and a very strong one at that. I don't understand the logic behind that. That's another reason why I'm a little bit more down on the Patriots. I don't know what the strategy is when you're kind of solidifying a really good strength, but you have legitimate weaknesses that are a year away. I don't know how I feel about that. I would have loved to have seen them taking a flyer out on the Ohio State tackle that's slipping my mind at the moment. But that would have been a good guy to, see if he ends up loving football more than basketball and just taking some time there. So, there's just some genuine concerns that I do have. And it's, B- is being pretty generous given the fact that I don't trust the tackles. I don't think there's a superstar at wide receiver or even in the running back position. So, yeah, it is what it is, but I'm still going to show y'all some love. I still think it's a good enough offense to be able to squeeze out wins here and there. It's just not something that I think is going to be top 10, top 15 in the NFL. Next, we have the defense starting out with the line. Dietrich Wise, you got Devon Godshaw, Christian Barmore, who I fell in love with, who fell to the second round because of coachability issues. People thought he was stubborn, didn't want to listen. And you know what? He goes to the right place. So good for him. Good for him. Overall, I think that the line's perfectly fine. Jolene Tavai is somebody who I do not like. I don't think anybody likes Jolene Tavai. He's the obvious weak point on this team. Then you have Juwan Bentley, who I believe got a contract extension. He's been playing very well. Matt Judon, obviously, is Matt Judon. You have also Kyle Duggar and Adrian Phillips. Both not bad whatsoever. You have a very solid defense here. Then you got Christian Gonzalez, first round selection. I think he's going to be a top 10 corner in the NFL. I was much lower on him in the pre-draft process, but I always said if he goes to Bill Belichick, because fit matters more than honestly anything for DBs. If he goes to Bill Belichick, it's game over, and it's game over. Y'all traded back and got him. You got Jack Jones in there. I know that one of your corners, I think his name's also Jones, got suspended, potentially is gone for good. We'll see what happens there. I think it's Jack Jones who got absolutely shellacked. But then you have Marcus Jones, all these fucking Joneses. You got Marcus Jones in the slot, who I absolutely adore. He was the guy who ended up taking a kick return back and beating my SMU Mustangs in his final year at the final seconds. So thanks, Boo. Thank you, dude. Then we got some backups here. Keon White. That's another reason why I didn't put D-end as a potential weakness. I like Keon White. I think he's going to be a great fit right away. You got Josh Uche in there, who's behind Judon. We'll see him continue to take some meaningful reps, but I don't think anybody's going to be digging into Matt Judon's territory. Marte Mapu was brought in brand new. I think that he's probably going to be the guy who takes a big step up. You got even Julius Peppers, who's going to... Is it Julius? Why am I tripping balls? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Safety from... formerly the Browns. It's not Julius Peppers. I'm tripping. I don't remember what his first name is off the top of my head. Then you got Sean Wade in there and Jalen Mills. So you got some really good depth on this team. B is probably a little bit light. I'm not a huge fan of Devon Godshaw myself and Dietrich Wise, but until you guys really address that, like those three positions really do kind of give me pause before, taking that big step. I think you guys have a lot of really solid players, but maybe not elite players on the defense. I think the one that makes it elite is probably Bill Belichick. So now you have probably one elite player there in Christian Gonzalez for sure, Matt Judon as well. So you guys have some good players there for sure. But, we'll see as time goes on. This seems pretty harsh, but the fact is y'all have a very tough schedule. First off, every team in your division is a Super Bowl competitor. That's a really tough start. Then you also play against Philadelphia. I mean, we'll go game by game here. So Philadelphia, I don't think I need to explain that very much. Coming right off a Super Bowl loss, they're coming out for vengeance. They are feral as shit. Then you got Miami. You guys, I'm gonna trust you guys to beat Miami every single time when it's in New England. You go to New York. New York's a high octane team. I think that's a game you could end up sneaking a dub into. And that's why I also have that power ranking series, because there's a lot of these games that are coin tosses that, if they go your way, you could end up with like a 9-win record. Off the top of my head, I know that at least that's one of them. Dallas is a really good team. I think that Dallas is going to be perfectly fine. And then you go to New Orleans. I'm giving you guys that game. I originally didn't, but I decided to flip it because I do believe in Bill Belichick, especially early on versus that coaching staff. Then you got Vegas. Bill always performs so poorly against his former coaches. So, that's why I'm going to toss in that one right there. But another game you guys could easily win. Buffalo, and then you're at Miami. That's just really, really tough. Buffalo, obviously, Super Bowl competitor. Miami, you're in Miami as well. Even with Tom Brady, that's probably leaning towards an L. I think you guys can kick Washington's tush. Week 10 is a game where I'm taking it on myself because I believe in the Colts, but that's another game that you could win right there. You guys have another 3 wins that you guys could add to this right now, 8-9. That is a possible record. New York, I don't think New York's spectacular. I think they overachieved, and I think Bill Belichick's the type of guy to take the dubs there. Los Angeles, I think, Justin Herbert can be got by Bill Belichick, and, I'm going to trust y'all in that one, and I think they're a Super Bowl competitor. I gave you as the one of the 4 losses that they have all season long, so I do love y'all, even though it is a little bit tough to find some wins here and there. At Pittsburgh, that's another game you guys could win. You guys always seem to absolutely eviscerate my Steelers, but I'm just showing a little bit of love to my Steelers because I do think they did a really good job in the offseason. I think they'll have some good momentum during that portion of the year. So right now, I have New York, Vegas, and then Indy, and then potentially Pittsburgh right there. That's a 9-8 record. Kansas City, I don't think you guys are going to beat up on Kansas City. They're still, even though their roster isn't amazing, they get pretty heavily carried by Reed as well as Mahomes. At Denver, that's always a very tough game, and I'm going to say Mile High City is going to take advantage there. And you're at Buffalo, and then playing New York, who I just recorded their video, is going to be on a hot streak. That's just a really tough schedule. So you guys should be potentially 9-8. So just think, even though the record says 5-12, I'm still showing you all the respect of saying, hey, I believe this team easily could be over 500. So we'll put it right there. Again, this team is probably not going to make the playoffs. You're in, again, a conference where you have a ton of Super Bowl competitive teams. This just isn't one of them yet. And, you're a couple pieces away here. Maybe an elite receiver. Maybe Mac Jones just isn't your guy to uplift the roster enough. Maybe there is a quarterback that can step in and be that type of guy. Maybe it's Bailey Zappi who can take a step up. There are pieces that are still falling into place. So have patience, because I do think that this team is on the up. Just give it time. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the far side.